Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So still working on Rex's 2008 Corvette. We're getting ready to go to Effingham for Fun Fest next week, and one of the things I wanted to do before he took his car back to LA later this fall was to work on this driver's seat. Eventually he's going to swap over to the 2012 foam and the seat covers, but that's going to be a little bit down the line, and I don't want to spend money redoing the whole seat. But the left-hand side of his seat is just beat down. This foam is all destroyed. It's coming apart. Foam particles all over the carpet. And when I took the seat foam off to replace it with the new, what I found was the far left-hand seat spring has come off. The steel rod that makes up the framework that gives you your spring, and what has happened over time with getting in and getting out of the car, it has slid the rod over. So this last wire isn't broken, it's just slid off the ends, and it did the same thing on the rear. So I'm going to have to push this back over and get this back on before I can put the new foam on. So this isn't rocket science. I'm going to spare you with a lot of the mechanical of taking this apart. It's not hard. You can see I didn't even have to do anything to the rear. What you have is 3 hog rings on the bottom flap that come under and tuck under the seat. You cut those hog rings off and you'll expose this string. So you untie this string, and that gives it all the slack that this is bottom seat covers pulled around the leather frame. And then in the back, this is Velcroed on. You pull your Velcro, you lift that up, you unhook your seat heater, and you slide, and you just pop the foam right off the top. The only other thing you have to do before you do that is disassemble your switches. The seat lever's got a spring clip like the old 60s and 70s mechanical door handles and window cranks. You got one screw that holds the plastic cover on. One screw that holds the plastic cover on. Pull it out. Leave your switches hooked up by the harness. Then take this out. And you can pull your switches through and unhook them from the harness back here. So you have the sport seat, your harnesses are right here. So it's pretty basic. I got new foam for this. We're going to go ahead and get this cover off. I'm going to fix this last spring steel rod, and we'll go ahead and get it put back together. So this had fallen off this end of the rod, and the rod had slid over. And the same happened here. The rod didn't slide over, but this cut through this plastic retainer, and that's what keeps it from sliding back and forth and keeps them evenly spaced. This one's obviously damaged in several places, and this is a flexible plastic retainer with holes, and you can see that it's broke right here. And this is where most of the weight is you get in and out of these cars. This is where your butt goes and then you slide over. That's why the bolsters are always beat down. But we're gonna make this as good as we can get it for now until in a couple years or so Rex goes over to the 2012 style seats and we'll repair everything properly. Okay, well here's our new seat cushion, and what you can see here, these black strips, this is Velcro. Hook and loop Velcro on here. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull this part just like this, and all you're doing is un-Velcroing it. So here is our old seat cover, and you can see it's all beat down, starting to crumble. So what we're going to do is go ahead and transfer the seat heater over to the new one, and then the installation is basically the reverse. This didn't take me 5 minutes, and that's with videotaping this, so this is not very complicated at all. Okay, well we've got most of the large foam pieces off our heater. So these have adhesive strips from the factory. They just adhere it to the foam. So you're not going to get it all off. You don't need to worry about it. Get the big chunks of foam off that you can. And at this point, we're ready to spray our adhesive. So this is 3M high strength spray adhesive. You can get this at any hobby store. I got this at Ace Hardware. The other thing you're going to need is Hog Ring Pliers. This is a DeWalt brand. I ordered it from Napa. It was $44. It came with 1,000 hog ring clips. What's nice about this one is it has a loadable magazine, like a nail gun. Instead of doing one at a time like the old ones, you can just load this up and clip away. I think we need 11 or 12 to do the rear seat, but so those are the two things you're going to need. We'll go ahead and get this glued up. Follow the directions on the can. We're going to do probably 3 uniform coats on the foam and here. All you have to spray on the foam is where this goes. I'm gonna put a little tape, a little masking tape over the Velcro strips so I don't get those full of glue and gum them up when we get ready to put the seat on. But all you really need are these 4 areas right here. And we'll throw this on some paper and we'll go ahead and spray this too. So I traced the outline of the seat heater with a Sharpie. I threw some masking tape down and we laid our glue down. It's now dry to the touch, so it's ready to go on. All right, well, we got it in place. We're gonna let that sit for a bit. Well, I've got the seat spring wire repaired, fixed, everything's back where it needs to go. And now we're gonna go ahead and just reinstall our original seat cover, making sure that we get the Velcro parts there, and that's gonna be where your seam is on the top. All right, well, this is probably the most aggravating part of doing these, but once you get the seat cover on the foam and the Velcro where it needs to be, you leave these up, and we're gonna put it in here. This will fall into place. There's channels here for the seat frames, and then there's a channel here for this back frame. Once you get this in place, you'll know, it'll just fall right into place, and then we'll start folding these edges over. All right, well, you can tell I got this over the back frame. That's where that channel sits. And as you can see here, everything is designed to fit right over there. It'll fall right into place, and then we'll fold our covers over. So we got the cover on, we flip the sides down. It looks really good. So you're gonna take this, you're gonna fold this under. This is gonna go around here, underneath here. Same with the other side. Velcro these two, and we're gonna flip this back around and hog ring the bottom of that. One thing that we do have to do on this seat is we're gonna have to trim this out for where our switches come through before we put this plate on. All right, well, it wasn't too bad. The hardest part is actually getting this mounting plate on for your plastic trim panel. The trick, at least what I did, I used longer screws. These screws are relatively short. I don't know, 3/8, half an inch maybe. What I can tell is by putting my finger on the back of here, they're not interfering with anything but the foam. I would assume over time that they would probably cut up the inside of the foam and make it break down a little bit more. But we are going to switch over in a couple years to 2012 foam and covers. So this is a temporary fix just so we could at least be comfortable driving. Obviously, putting those shorter screws into, 2 inches of foam and then compressing it is definitely a feat that I have not mastered yet. But I just put 3 longer screws in. We can go ahead and pull our harnesses out now, hook our switches back up, put the cover plate on, and that's going to be it. All right, well, that's it. We got our plate on, we got our trim plate on, switches are back in. So on this trim plate, putting this back on with all this brand new foam was really difficult. So I told you I used the longer screws in there, And I also used a longer screw on the back of this. You have to get this trim plate on and make sure that the top of the plastic is over that metal edge on top. Also be careful of the edge of the aluminum, especially around that hole. I noticed while I was fighting with this, it took me quite a while, I ended up cutting the insulation on the wires to the lumbar support bags. And I'm glad I noticed it. I had to stop, unplug everything, take everything back out, repair the insulation, block tape everything. But just be aware of that. You don't want to go through all this work, put everything back in your car, and then find out it doesn't work and have to take it all apart again. But there we are. So that took me a couple hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes with filming this. Most of my time was fighting this and lining up the holes. I used punches or scribes originally for the metal plate and put these in the screw holes. There's 3 screw holes. I put them in 2, located the 3rd, and then started with that screw, pulled one out, started with that screw, pulled one out, started with that screw. So that's it. It's repaired springs. We used the original seat cover and put new foam in there. So it's going to be a lot more comfortable riding back to Los Angeles. So I hope that helps you. I didn't show a lot of mechanical. I mean, nobody wants to sit and watch somebody work on something for 30 or 40 minutes on a video. Well, here we are. We're done. All the seat functions work. Make sure we have our 8-way power seat switch that works. Check our lumbar support. That was the wire that I nipped the insulation on. That works. And the rear lumbar, that works. And of course, our recliner. So, and there's our auto memory seat. So everything works great. So if you got 2 or 3 hours, maybe 4 hours to kill on an afternoon and you want to fix that bottom seat cushion on your car, it wasn't too bad of a job. I hope that helps. If you have any questions, shoot me a line. Thanks for watching.